The fellowship is the highest accolade bestowed by BAFTA in recognition of an outstanding and exceptional contribution in the industry. This year's winner has not only made a significant impact on games industry and its culture, but he's also made praiseworthy and dramatic changes to the world of computing. David Braben, shall we say, he's got a brain the size of a small planet. And I wouldn't play him at chess for money, because you're going to lose. He's also an incredible man. He started programming in 1981 on the Acorn Atom. His plan was to break the mold of games. He didn't want to make just another game. In fact, David has been at the heart of everything to do with computers, games, entertainment for some 30 years now, and he's just a legend, as we all know, in his own life. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's see some of David Braben's work.
I think the first arcade game that started to capture my imagination was Defender. Because it had a little bit of story, just the fact that the little landers were coming down, taking people up, and then when they would mutate when they got the person to the top of the screen. I thought that was quite nice, and you could play the game in a slightly different way. The focus of all the other games was the fact that you just got a life at 10,000 and another one at 20,000, and maybe get a smart bomb at every 5,000, you know, which felt to me just very systematic, very grind the handle. With Elite, I think, I broke the rules quite a lot, mainly because the games are all very systematic. We were told, absolutely, in black and white, in fact, by publishers, that Elite was too different. You know, we want a game with a small number of minutes play cycle, we want a game with a score and 3 lives and all this sort of thing. But what if I want 2 smart bombs instead of 1 life? It's that sort of philosophy, and also the philosophy of trying to make me care about my progress, so that there would be a reward for getting a high score other than the score itself. It appealed to me to do something different, mainly because those are the sort of things that I wanted to do. And looking down later in my career, doing games that I'm really proud of, games like Dog's Life, for example, bringing different audiences to computers and showing that it doesn't have to all be about death and shooting and still be compelling. Similarly with Raspberry Pi, you don't have to sell expensive computers with expensive hardware and all this thing. You can sell them very cheaply and engage kids again. You see, to me, our industry is wonderful because we can provide a real motivation for kids to get into science, to get into maths, to get into technology, to get into physics. And we should be using that in education to motivate kids. In my heart of hearts, I've always been a non-conformist. Doing things the standard way has never really appealed. You know, innovation is really what it's about. It's doing things that are new, doing things that are exciting. And I think hopefully the more people that do that, the more diverse the world becomes, the more exciting it becomes, the more interesting it becomes.
This year's BAFTA Fellowship goes to David Braben.
Thank you very much. Wow. Thank you. Thank you.
Wow, what an incredible honour. what a real honour. And thank you very much for such a kind introduction, Ian. It's really, really nice, and it's truly, truly amazing to be here. The films of the late 30s and early 40s really changed the way people looked at films, about how they were regarded. Particularly the films of, it's gone out of my mind, of Alfred Hitchcock and Orson Welles. They really changed the industry. And Alfred Hitchcock, of course, the first person to receive this truly, truly amazing award. And after that point, film came of age. It ushered in a golden age of film. And I've always been a fan of film, but I've also always had a vision about our industry, in that we've paralleled film. You've seen how we've moved through various stages in which there are very, very strong parallels with film. And it's my gut feel that we're very, very close to that sort of point in games, where there is that big change. I think we will only be able to see it for certain with hindsight, but I think we're on the cusp of coming of age. We're on the cusp of a golden age of gaming, and that, to me, is truly exciting. It's an absolutely brilliant time to be in the industry. I've been in the industry for a horrifying 33 years. I mean, it doesn't feel like that. In many ways, it feels like a blink of the eye. And some of the things we've just shown, and that Ian has very kindly said, only feel like yesterday. And I sometimes wonder what's happened in those 33 years. But it's never been a better time to be in the industry than now. The scope of where we're going, the rise of the indies is truly amazing. We've seen such a range, looking at excellent things like Dare to be Digital and the way BAFTA have backed young gamers, looking at things like Monument Valley, the very, very fresh ideas. I think it's the best time there has been to be in this wonderful industry. And, of course, this year has been a truly amazing year for me personally. Most importantly, I got married to the wonderful Wendy, who's sitting here. Thank you. I got to realize a lifetime dream by releasing Elite Dangerous, which has been wonderful. And thank you, everybody who backed it, played it, and most importantly, I wouldn't be here today if it weren't for the brilliant team at Frontier with Johnny Watts and a wonderful team who have made that game possible. Also, of course, to all the people at Raspberry Pi and all of those people for whom I'm essentially taking credit for the wonderful games we saw earlier. I really appreciate, but these are team efforts, and I'm just part of that team. So thank you very, very much for this award, and especially thanks for BAFTA for this event and the events in the past. They are really, really good for the industry, and they help us usher in that golden age of gaming, which I think we're really, really close to. And thank you for all the wonderful kindness and the lovely applause, and to BAFTA, and of course to Wendy for putting up with me. Thank you. Thank you.
Well, you've come a long way since I was just talking about the days of shift, run, stop, and play on tape on the Commodore 64, and those times I'd lose my brother for hours as he waited for the game to load. Did you ever think back then, when you were busy writing in the code, that you'd be sitting here one day receiving a BAFTA?
No, I mean,
Really?
I still, it's to join a group where the first member was Alfred Hitchcock. I'm surprised they have me, but that's just so amazing. That's brilliant.
I mean, and that's the thing, isn't it? You're sharing it with a Steam company.
You are in such fine company. I mean, not just the games luminaries, like you say, but also Hitchcock and Kubrick. I mean, how does that feel?
I don't know yet. No, it's amazing. So, I mean, I still, it's really amazing. It's such an honour, and I just thank everybody who's made it possible.
And in the same way, I suppose, when winter comes around again, you put that jacket on and it feels all comfy and familiar. Returning to Elite, I know it's slightly longer time than a year, but how was that for you to step back into those shoes in that world?
It's been great. It's the fact no game is ever as you exactly want it. You know, I mean, with everything, you just, I wish I'd fixed that. You see that afterwards. But the beauty now in this connected world is you can keep improving it. It feels like it's the start of something. And all of those things that I really wanted to do, we've been able to do some of them, and more of them are coming. And it's such a brilliant opportunity.
Was there an element of that where you'd go back and look at notes you made and look at things you sort of crossed out because it wasn't possible at the time, and now you're like, oh my Lord, this is possible. Well, I can do this.
There are so many more. Multiplayer, for example, is amazing. There are so many more things that still want to do. You know, you hear about even people like Turner going up and sneaking in and touching up his picture because it always annoyed him something that wasn't. It's that sort of thing. In the earlier days of gaming, it's a terrifying thing to send off a disc for submission because that's it.
Yeah.
You can't change anything else. But now you can. I know people criticise it, all this, and I think it is funny, Rufus Hound with the Day One DLC. And he's right, you know, and it can have a frustration, but it also means you can keep a game fresh. We've had people playing for more than 1,000 hours. When you think how much that is, that's 10 hours every day since our game shipped. And are still playing, and they're saying, oh, well, we've seen everything. But they haven't, because we keep putting new stuff in. And that's wonderful.
Do you have ambitions to keep you going indefinitely for Elite?
Oh, certainly, that's the plan, depending on how long I last.
Well, console versions first, right? And then we'll see where we go from there.
But the game's still improving, because those changes all get folded in. The game just gets better.
Well, it's been an honour to be able to just talk to you here, and such a deserved award. So many congratulations.
You're very,
for tonight.
very kind. It's a real honour to be here.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Enjoy the rest of this evening.
Well done,
Thank you. Lovely talking to you.
Not at all.
Thank you.